It's a pleasure to have you once again on this edition of The Link this week. We are trying to keep always our promise to give you information that you can use, and in there you can get opportunities. And tonight we're dealing with opportunities, information. We're discussing not a very new subject of entrepreneurship, but looking in. And my guest tonight to discuss with us this topic is Mr. Micheal Niyetegeka, who is Executive Director, Refactory. He's coming back on this show to give us some insights. Micheal, you're welcome.
Thank you, Sam. Pleasure to be on the link after a bit.
I know.
Happy to be here.
Let's take the first question. Entrepreneurship is encouraged and promoted as a big factor to help unemployment. When you go wherever, it's like a rhetoric. But can everyone, in fact, become a successful entrepreneur? If I want to become successful as an entrepreneur, what does it take?
Thank you, Sam. So the reality is that we all need to have a dose of entrepreneurship, whether you're employed or not. But the difference between those that take the decision to go into the business of setting up business is not for everyone. And I've come to appreciate that if you look at the amount of money that has been spent, let's say in this country, in trying to preach the whole gospel around entrepreneurship and getting as many people to be job creators as opposed to being job seekers, is one that gives you, the data itself should reveal to us that it is not possible to have everyone turn out to become an entrepreneur. Whereas it is an opportunity to address the unemployment factor, it takes much more than just the training. It requires we need to have structures that are very intentional in identifying entrepreneurs and helping them to scale so that they can employ as many people as possible. So that's one of the things I would really say, that entrepreneurship, yes, is a very big factor, is a game changer in addressing the unemployment, but it is not that everyone can be trained to be an entrepreneur, to become a job creator.
Very well, Micheal. Can I learn to be an entrepreneur, or am I born an entrepreneur? Is it born or is it learned? What can happen with both of those?
I think both, because we've seen those that have found their niche. We've seen those that have been able to identify their core by going through training and going ahead to start. We can't rule out the fact that to a large extent, those of us that end up in entrepreneurship, there is something that is inherent in us. There is a drive that you can't get. There's fulfillment that you can't get out of an 8-to-5 job because of probably the way you think, the way you want to disrupt a lot of things, that you will struggle to be in a contained environment. Sometimes I feel like it's a DNA that entrepreneurs possess that some of us who are employed 8-to-5 may not possess. The fact that you look at a risk as an opportunity to grow something, to do something, and later on everybody says, if Sam has been able to do it, probably I can replicate. And that's why we have many of us who want to copy things, but just struggle along the way because there's that DNA that sometimes is not something that you can teach in class. That said, Sam, it is important to appreciate the fact that the education ecosystem helps you to put together a few pieces in terms of clarity. And there are those that who have gone to school and end up into entrepreneurship will probably tend to run a little bit faster than maybe if I just start out of the blue. Their ability to scale is largely informed by exposure. So I can't play out, I can't pull out the education factor in the entrepreneurship ecosystem. But it's not that everybody can be trained to be an entrepreneur. Although we all every employee needs to have an appreciation of what entrepreneurship is all about.
can I grow out of an 8 to 5 job maybe for a few years and then become an entrepreneur? Is that kind of trajectory also realistic?
Absolutely, Sam. So work environment creates a safe space for you to try out a few things. And because it gives you a certain level of comfort, you're able to see and learn with those that have built the business over time. That may not come easily if you just, and doesn't work for everyone. That may not come easily for you to just jump out of school and go straight. So one of the things I always tell and encourage people is that work with some people, understand how they built their processes, understand the project, understand things like finance. And then from then on, when you jump into your business, there are certain basic facets that you possess that then make it easy for you to thrive in your own setting. That said, there are people who will straight away go into business and will grow it. But that's a very small percentage. That's a very small percentage. And sometimes I shudder when I see massive government programs that keep on saying we want to create more job creators. That's the ideal. The reality is that, yes, a number of us will need to first work with some people, acquire some bit of experience, and out of that experience, you can then apply it in your ideal work environment or business enterprise.
If I own an idea, and here we're talking about innovation and you are big in that space, an innovator, does that necessarily mean that as an owner of an innovation, let me say some kind of design or something, does that automatically make me qualified to be an entrepreneur? Or I need somebody else actually?
So it is important to appreciate that there are people who will be good at starting and then pass it on to someone else. And so from an innovation perspective, there are those that are brilliant at bringing ideas to life and then someone else takes it up to scale. Now, will you be an innovator? Will you be an entrepreneur? The entrepreneur is the guy who really runs the business, the guy who makes things come to life and build them to grow. You can be an innovator and you work with people around you that then help you to scale your innovation to go to the next level. And so you need somebody with an enterprising mind to take your innovation to monetize it or give it a commercial value. And ideally, innovation hubs should be those spaces where you connect the guy who has the idea with the person who has the enterprise thinking. The challenge that I have seen in many cases is that you want to be the founder and the CEO, and sometimes it is very difficult. And I understand when you're starting, you may not have the money to pay a CEO, and so you're going to start off on your own. But along the way, it is important to begin to appreciate that I need to bring in someone to help me run this thing if it is going to go to the next level.
Insight. And a final question. If I listen to a motivational speech and I'm in employment, what should I keep in mind before quitting my employment and seek to go on my own as self-employed, as the motivational speaker might be encouraging?
Yeah. Some I'll tell you, I read a quote out of a book that said the best way to make money out of a get-rich-quick book is to write your own book. In other words, listening to a motivational speaker, yeah, the way to make money from a motivational speech sometimes is also to start motivating people. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So not everything that is said by a motivational speaker may apply to your context. So it is important to appreciate your context. That's number one. Number two, one of the things that I have learned and greatly appreciated from some of the people that I've had an opportunity to interact with is that for every business that you attempt to do, understand it. Understand the business drivers around that particular business. Understand the cost. Understand the things that make it thrive. Because beyond just the talk, you will struggle. It's like when I read a headline in the papers that says so and so makes 100 million annually, but the story in the paper doesn't tell me how much they incur as expenses. So is that net? Is that gross? What else has the nitty-gritty? So spend time understanding the business, understand the things that drive the costs in that particular sector. And once you feel you have the knack to go into it, start and then scale. Don't scale and then start. Otherwise, you will mortgage yourself out of this world. So that's what I would say, Sam. So take everything you hear from motivational speakers with a pinch of salt, and as much as possible, spend more time understanding yourself because that's when you will have an appreciation of what is possible. But yes, I wish as many of us as much success to the enterprise world.
Okay, thank you. And I know you have navigated all these spaces. That's why you qualify actually to, share these ideas. You are inspiration now to many people. Michael, you don't know, but I meet people who quote you. Michael said this, and I'm thinking, wow, yeah. But when you speak from where you come from, yeah, you know what you're talking about. Thank you so much for sharing with us those thoughts in terms of entrepreneurship. And my takeaway today was, is, pinch of salt in whatever you hear. Viewers, we hope added value to you tonight, and that was the link. Thank you for joining us.